Hi guys, it's Saturday, and this week's theme is Teacher Appreciation Week because of the strike in Chicago. Hence my red. Um, Teachers have had a huge impact on me, not just one teacher, because I'm that kid that would rather talk to my teachers than talk to my peers. In elementary school, actually, instead of going on the playground in like kindergarten, first, second grade, instead of doing that, instead of like playing with my friends, I didn't have many, but if like my two friends weren't there, I talked to my teachers. I was that kid, and like as time's running out, in class or whatever, and there's nothing else to do, I would talk to my teachers. I don't do that as much now because I'm kind of an awkward, withdrawn person. I still do that with a couple teachers though. I did last year, my art teacher, um, just things like that. I really enjoy listening to my teachers, and I've always connected with adults, especially teachers, more than I have with kids my age. It's just part of who I am. I'm not trying to say I'm more mature or anything. It's just I've always connected to teachers, and being that I connected a lot to teachers, it's only logical that a good number of them have had an impact on my life. Um, Basically, all of them have. I'm going to try and narrow it down as few as possible, but in their own little ways, they have all made me who I am today. Whether it's good or bad. Actually, they're more responsible for the good. Yeah, I guess the first teacher that made an impact on me would be probably third grade. I had this teacher, Mrs. Huntington. I'm mentioning my teachers' names. If they ever see this for some reason, I want them to know I care. Anyway, my teacher in third grade, who I also had in fifth grade, she was like, her specialty was literature, but I mean, it was elementary school, so she was our homeroom teacher and was responsible for other stuff, but she really got me into writing, and I really liked to write, or I did. When my depression hit, I kind of stopped, but I used to write a lot, and I really wanted to be a writer, and she inspired me to pursue that. I made her cry with one of my pieces. I had to write about my hero, and I wrote about my grandma. That's not the case now, but I made her cry, and to have that impact on someone. And she said how great of a writer I was, how if I pursued it, I could do something with my life. And she also connected with me outside of school, sort of, but I'll get to that in a minute. Um, in sixth grade, I had this science teacher, Mr. Bauermeister, and he was really cool. In sixth grade was when our financial troubles really started. My grandma got sicker, things like that, and it was harder for us to afford even little things. And there was a field trip once, and I didn't have the $5. It was $5 or $6, and I didn't have it. And we were completely broke. We were living day to day, and he pulled me aside one day, and he was like, "Julie, I need the money, whatever, blah, 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 blah." And I said, I don't have it. We don't have money. I'm fine with staying out of the field trip. I just can't. I don't have that sort of money. It's $5, but I mean, it was the world, and I'm just like, I don't have it right now, and I understand if I don't get it by then, I won't go. And he paid for the field trip for me. And from that point on, for the rest of the year, he paid for the field trips for me. Like, even if I managed to get the money from my dog walking job or whatever, he would not take it. And that meant a lot to me. And then one day he found out I was paying for my lunch, even though it was reduced, out of my own pocket. and he paid for that too. It's not a lot, but it meant a lot to me. And then he sent me to this science and math camp over the summer. It's lame, I know, but it was cool and it meant something. And he was like, I couldn't see anyone else but you going, and he filled out the forms for me. He got the teacher recommendations, and then I got out of elementary school. I talked to a couple of my teachers, and that was when my problems with my mom started. And so I would email my math teacher, Mrs. Allegretti, and that teacher before, Mrs. Huntington. And I think it was Mrs. Allegretti who had asked me how my mom was and how my siblings were. And I told her what had happened and how she doesn't want anything to do with me, blah, 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 blah. How, I must be this horrible person. She, would try and comfort me saying I'm not. And she believed in me, and back in school, she had helped me with math, and she's probably one of the contributing factors as to why I like math now. Just like Mr. Bauermeister is part of the reason I like science. Not biology and environmental, but science. And she had told Mrs. Huntington, and I came for the Halloween party the year after I graduated, and Mrs. Huntington ran up to me when she saw me and hugged me. And she was telling me how I'm this great person and I don't deserve this, how wrong my mom is and how my mom will see it and that it's okay and I will get through this and I'm this. It was more than, I don't get praise often, and a teacher liking me, that meant so much. And she was great. We fell out of contact though, but I don't have a lot of self-esteem, but those little pieces I do get where I do think, yeah, I could do this, or yeah, I'm worth something, are because of those kinds of teachers. The kinds of teachers that push you and support you and make sure you know you're worth something, you could do better. And then came 7th grade. I was in 7th grade, and I was in a new school, and my depression really started to hit. And it was really bad. And my computer teacher, who I didn't really like, wasn't the best teacher. Still don't think she was the best teacher in like teaching me things I didn't know. But she pulled me in the hallway one day, and I thought I was in trouble. And I was just thinking, oh God, this is it. I'm gonna fail this class. I don't know what I was thinking, but it was bad. And all she did was say, Julia, you're not being yourself. Are you okay? Someone noticed. A lot of my friends, or people who I thought were my friends, didn't. She did. A teacher I didn't even like, noticed I wasn't me, noticed something was wrong. And I burst into tears. I just started bawling in the hallway, and she ran to get the counselor, and that was one of the steps that got me to get help. I didn't get it right away, but it's part of the reason I'm okay today. A teacher, simple, are you okay? You're not yourself. And 2 teachers had walked by as I'm bawling by myself in the hallway. One was really nosy, just wanted to know what was happening, didn't seem like she cared. But another one, Mr. Modi, he asked if I was okay, and I said, yeah, I didn't want to talk about it, things like that. And he had said, and it still sticks with me, my door is always open if you need to talk. You don't have to, but it's there. I wasn't one of his favorite students. He wasn't one of my favorite teachers. But he said that. And that little sentence, those little sentences stick with me today, that he cared enough. He didn't have to. He could have said, okay, or are you sure, or whatever, and moved on with his life, but no. He said that. I didn't follow him up on that offer, but the offer was there. And that meant a lot. And then there was Mrs. Osbo. She was the director of the academic center, and she was kind of crazy, but she was our literature teacher in 7th grade. And she played favorites. I was one of them. Big surprise there. But she saw me one day when I was waiting for my counselor, and I forget how it came up, but she was telling me how smart I was. And I'm like, I'm not smart, there are all these people better grades. My grades are kind of bad, there are so many people smarter than me. And she just wouldn't give up. She's like, no, you're smart. You're one of the smartest kids here. They may be book smart or something, but it's different with you. You're smart. I don't know, but it's like, that's one of the few times I believed someone. I don't believe people often when they tell me a compliment. Eventually it gets to the point where I'm just like, okay, but I still don't believe them. And she really made me feel, like I was worth it. And like, I'm smart. I am something. I'm not just this useless body of heat, like Kayla said. But yeah. And then 8th grade happened, and nothing much I could really think of. But then freshman year happened, and that's the year I went to the hospital. And my French teacher had made the class make me get well cards. She had no idea why I was in the hospital, but none of my other teachers did that. No one else did that. And maybe it's a French thing. But the day I got back, she gave me a hug, and she gave me some get well cards. Quite a few of them. It meant a lot. I tried to keep them for as long as I could. My grandma threw them out, but someone cared enough to make the class do that. I mean, teaching compassion, not just 2 + 2 = 4, but be a good human being for once. Care about your brothers and your sisters and your neighbors and what have you. And a lot of the teachers I liked that year. And then there was my art teacher. And I had her both last year and my freshman year, Mrs. Samanis. And she's great. She's great. She's one of the teachers I would talk to a lot. And I don't have much faith in my art skill. I'm definitely no Natasha. Natasha's great in art. She's definitely going to make a career out of it. I doodle occasionally, and most of them really suck. But she taught me ways to better my art skill a little bit. Not completely. Just little fundamental things. But she also talked to me. And she actually gave me her email. I haven't really emailed her. I should. I feel horrible for it. But we would talk, And she would tell stories about her life, which I love. It makes teachers more human. And I'm definitely going to remember her. Because she cared. And the last day of school, she cried. I was the only kid that showed up. I show up because I like my teachers. Fortunately, the second half of the day, no one was there. So, yeah, but she was great. And she got me believing that I can do something in my future, that I can travel if I want to, that I'm going to be good at something. And she would tell me I would be good at something. And I'm not a public speaker. And she would kind of make me speak. It didn't really help though. But in that class, I felt safe. She made it feel safe. Like I could talk. It wasn't a problem. That was the only class I didn't have as much of a problem saying things. I still had a slight problem, but she's one of those teachers, like those fun teachers that are really cool, but not like you do nothing. Like she's still strict. Like I didn't turn things in, but we're still cool, you know. She gave me a magazine that has Emma Watson on it. Like, what kind of teacher just goes, oh, a magazine, this makes me think of a student, I'm gonna get it for him, or I'm gonna grab this, you know? Not many. Like, I don't know. These little things make an impact on me. And then, there's one teacher I have this year that I know is gonna make an impact on me. We did this thing. He would read off a very personal statement, and we would cross the room if it applied to us, and it made me realize how much I had in common with my class. And my class is all seniors, and I'm a junior. They don't know that, but I was connected to so many of them. There was a question, cross the line if you or anyone you know has attempted suicide. And I crossed the line, and half the other class did. And it doesn't mean that they're exactly like me, but it's very close. And like, cross the line if anyone you love is addicted to, you know, drugs or whatever. And the majority of the class crossed the line. And cross the line if an adult has ever made you feel worthless, has ever told you you're worthless. And the whole class crossed the line, and my teacher almost started crying. That's the kind of teacher that makes a difference. And to treat them like they're nothing, I don't know. I'm gonna stand behind my teachers no matter what, because they don't just make me ready for the real world in terms of, oh, how am I going to determine, you know, which interest loan to get when I get a car. It's not just that. It's teaching me how to be a better person. Not just be smarter, but to care more, to connect more, to be passionate about something, that I'm good for something, that I'm not useless like I'm always been told. That I'm not going to go nowhere, that I'm not going to be like my parents, that I could break that cycle, that I could shoot for the freaking stars if I so choose. I don't believe it all the time, but when I do, it's thanks to them and them alone. So when people are saying our teachers are greedy, that our teachers are, I don't know. I've heard it. I can't. And there's so many other teachers that have made an impact on my life, but this video is already so long. I really can't say anything else. I could go on about other teachers and how they've impacted me, but I'm not. Teachers are important. They say it takes a village to raise a child. That's true. And the majority of that village is composed of teachers that help mold us, that help create us, that help build us up and support us, that nurture us, our minds and our bodies and our souls. Yeah. I'm sorry, this is long. I'm just glad I didn't cry for once in this take, because I've tried recording this 3 times and I burst into tears. So, bye. I'll see you on Monday, Sarah.